What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in. So, Canelo stops Billy Joe Saunders in 8 rounds, makes him retire on a stool, lands a vicious uppercut, and shatters his orbital bone. The narrative right now is that Billy Joe Saunders quit. Well, at least a lot of people are saying that. You know, you have a lot of fans. You even had some fighters coming out and saying that he quit. That it was pathetic that he retired on his stool in front of 73,000 people. Personally, my opinion, I don't think he necessarily quit. I don't feel that I'm in the position to criticize a fighter. I'm not a fighter myself. When your livelihood is literally on the line the way it was, your health, the way it was on the line last night for Saunders. Now, of course, every single time you step in the boxing ring, every time you are taking, that's an inherent risk. I mean, you can literally die in that ring, for sure. So just stepping into the squared circle takes a lot of guts, a lot of balls. But Saunders, you got to think of it this way. If Saunders continued last night, if him and his corner, or whoever it actually was, whoever pulled the trigger, I would imagine, I'm pretty sure that it was his corner. If they didn't stop the fight, there is a pretty good chance that Saunders would have went blind. He probably would have went blind. I mean, that's a severe injury. It's one thing to fight through, say, a broken rib, or like a twisted ankle, or like maybe even like a hurt hand. You do see that a lot. But we're talking about an eye injury. We're talking about jeopardizing your eyesight. I mean, that's pretty serious. You live to fight another day. I mean, he put up a good fight. I will give him that. Saunders, put in a pretty good performance. He had some success with his jab. Some success with some counters and combination punching and his movement. He did well, but he was just in there with a better, stronger fighter. I mean, Canelo just looked fantastic last night. He looked like he was hitting harder than he's ever hit before. He just, again, I personally believe that he is making little improvements every single fight. He just seems to get better and better and better. And I know a lot of people did have Saunders up in the fight, or a lot of people felt that it was very close and Saunders was having excellent success, this, that, and the other thing. But to be completely honest with you guys, I just, for me anyway, from what I was seeing, I felt that it was only a matter of time. I felt that it was only a matter of time that Canelo was going to just cut that ring off, land his power shots, get his shit in, and eventually stop Saunders. And that's exactly what happened. I picked Canelo in a 9th round TKO or a knockout, and that's almost basically what happened. So what I'm trying to say is the fight transpired basically exactly the way I thought it would. And you could even tell early on in the fight, every time Canelo successfully cut the ring off and had Saunders cornered, even when he was, landing his shots on Saunders' arms or whatever, wasn't really landing cleanly, they were still clearly bothering Saunders. And, like I said, it was only a matter of time. But in terms of what I think Canelo should do next, now, personally, I think I would rather see him get in there with Andrade and Charlo just to shut up these haters and fanboys. I'd really love to see that. Because at this point in time, I don't think there's almost no way Andrade beats Canelo. It's just not going to happen, I just don't see Canelo at this point going down to 160. I think he's too acclimated to 168. I feel like at this point it would probably be more likely that he'd go to 175, even though he already stated that he has no intentions of going to 175 ever again. I wouldn't rule it out. I think if there's a fight that's lucrative enough for him to go to 175, I think he'll do it. I think he's actually more likely to go to 175 again, like I just said, than 160. I don't think there's really much down there at 160 for him, even though, like I said, I would like to see him fight Charlo. I would like to see him fight Andrade. But I think it's pretty crystal clear at this point that he beats those guys. I think he beats those guys no problem. I actually think Caleb Plant is a significantly tougher fight for Canelo than Andrade. Look at the way Andrade performed in his last fight against Liam Smith. We're not going to get too heavy into that right now, but you know, Caleb Plant looked better against Caleb Truax than Andrade looked against Liam Smith. And I know styles make fights, but I'm just saying, to me, Caleb Plant is the better fighter. He just is. He's a better fighter than Andrade hasn't beaten anybody. Let's be honest. If we're going to be completely honest. But I would like to see the fight at the same time, like I said, because it's going to shut the fanboys up. And just get that fight over with. You know, if Canelo can't make the Caleb Plant fight, obviously, Canelo has been very transparent about what he wants to do, what his goals are. He wants to unify 168. He's going to try to unify 168. The only way it's not going to happen is if Caleb Plant decides to duck Canelo, which I don't think he will, because if he doesn't fight Canelo, it's going to be it's going to be the most crystal clear duck I think I've ever seen. I think more than anyone's ever seen. It would be so clear that he's ducking Canelo. And I think he knows that. There's a lot of pressure on him. And not only that, but it's the most lucrative opportunity that he could possibly have. You're fighting the pound-for-pound #1 guy. You have a shot to unify all the belts at 168. I mean, it's an amazing opportunity for legacy, for money, for all of it. For all the glory, you know? So I do think that Caleb Plant is going to take the fight. I think we're going to see a unified 168-pound champion in September. It's going to be Canelo. Canelo's going to beat Caleb Plant. Canelo's on a forward trajectory right now. He's a wrecking machine at the moment. I don't think, like I said, I don't think anybody beats Canelo 175 South. I really don't. At this point, I do not think Bivol beats him, and I don't think Beterbiev beats him. I don't think Caleb Plant beats him. I don't think David Benavidez beats him. I think Bivol could give Canelo a really hard fight, given the styles, with the jab, the length, you know. But Canelo doesn't really seem to have all that much of a problem against guys with a height and reach advantage at the moment. You know, past 10 or so fights, I think Canelo's fought 7 world champions. Billy Joe Saunders, 30-0, undefeated, in his prime, champion, with a height and reach advantage, and he beat him soundly. He broke his face. So the hate for Canelo is totally unsubstantiated and ridiculous. It needs to stop. He's pound for pound clearly the best fighter in the world. But anyway, if you like the content, guys, you like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. It'll help me out. Like the video, and until the next one.